What's good, y'all? What's good? Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the DagogetaTv. I'm your guy, Deme D. Now I'm back with another show. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. This is what We Roc, indie designer show, where I show love to obviously the indie designers on the rise, the ones who've been laying down the path, and, progressing and just doing their own thing. This is a dope one right here. I'm here with Crisi. I was saying I just love your brand. We met last year at the
Day Summit.
Day Summit. You know what I mean? Salute to them. They bring people together, bringing artistry together, and I'm glad I bumped into you. And then your brand right here, we're gonna get into that. So I like to start off where you're from.
All right, I'm from Flatbush, Brooklyn.
Okay, we in Brooklyn right
Born
now.
and raised, yeah.
Okay, Brooklyn in the building. Ready? So this is interesting right here. We were talking off camera, so this is called crocheting.
Crocheting.
Okay, and these are your own pieces. You designed them straight from those
from
right
these
there.
Things
those
right
things
here.
right there. Okay, so let's start with the name of the brand.
Okay, Bonnie Velvet.
Bonnie Velvet.
I actually came up with the name because when I started taking crocheting serious, I was already in the fashion realm of just like sewing, doing like seamstress work.
And now, just for novices, that's two completely different things.
Yeah, so a seamstress is like a tailor, somebody that would like use a sewing machine. Somebody that sews.
Okay, now with the mitts.
Yeah. Right. So my favorite fabric to use is velvet. So I used to like always make clothes out of like different velvet things or whatever. But for me, velvet was almost like a therapy kind of thing with the texture.
All right.
So I was thinking of it like a Bonnie and Clyde, but Clyde is like my velvet is my Clyde essentially.
Okay.
So I was Bonnie and then Clyde.
All right. So when did you start I don't want to get straight into the brand because you mentioned the crocheting. So what were you doing with it? You were designing for other people or?
So initially, it's crazy. So me crocheting like this actually happened by accident. This was not even like
sometimes it's like
the plan for real. I always knew I wanted to be in fashion. So of course, like I said, I was doing seamstress stuff.
All right.
2020, I was stuck in Rhode Island during COVID. That's when like quarantine had just hit. I had like $200 in my account, and I was, like, you're a music enthusiast, right? I'm an art junkie. So for me, it's like anything art I have to do, right? So I went to Hobby Lobby, which is a craft store out there. And I was with my cousin. I told her, look, anything in this store that resonate with me, I'm going to buy. And whatever hit, that's what we going with.
Nice.
So I bought paint.
Straight to
I bought, none of that. If I know I'm hungry for art, let's just go through everything and just see what hits. For me,
I like that.
I had picked up 3 balls of yarn. So I got a yellow velvet, an olive green velvet, and a black velvet. Went home. I went on YouTube and I looked up like different designs for like inspo. I found a little like broad top situation, and yellow's my favorite color. Okay. So I'm like, I'm gonna pull the yellow yarn. I'm gonna make a little top. I posted on Facebook. Yo, look what I made. Right. Within a span of 2 days, I got 15 orders off of that one top.
Nice. Yeah, it's official. It's official.
Yeah.
So how does it, when you do that, can you, I don't have a clue about anything. So you can use any type of material? Does it have to be specific to crochet with? Or?
So there's actually different types of yarn, right?
Okay, so there's different types.
Yeah, there's different textures. Right. So like even like with this, it's like 2 different textures.
And this is called yarn?
Yeah, this is yarn, but it's an eyelash yarn. And then you have your acrylic yarn, which is like regular. Thank you. Yeah. So, there's different textures. And like on these, I have some velvet yarn, So there's definitely different textures. I've seen people use like actual fabric and then cut it into strips to make yarn.
Can use.
Yeah.
Is that more difficult or?
I mean, it really depends because there's a different toughness to different fabrics.
Right.
And then, of course, using a crochet hook, the tension on your hand and like how you're weaving the fabric.
Okay, I got you. It's like kind of like braiding hand.
Yeah.
So you got the 15 orders. So what was your thought process after that? Like, you were more surprised because you weren't really thinking like.
Yeah, like I was really taken aback because I wasn't expected. I mean, of course, I knew there was gonna be like a couple people like, oh, this is nice, but like to actually like place orders and like actually send me money is like that was a whole different ball game.
That's a different ball game.
So for me, I feel like that was like one of my biggest stepping stones in actually learning what it takes to run a fashion brand, because now that I have to deal with actual customers and worry about shipping and getting packaging,
I keep hearing about that
label,
shipping.
yeah, it's a whole different realm that I wasn't anticipating.
Right.
But I'm glad that I had that experience early, so I knew, like, moving forward, if this is what I'm gonna do, this is how I'm gonna have to do it.
And what comes with it too. Yeah, I see you consist. That's what I like to have people on my show that are either authentic or consistent. You know, so you definitely consistent with your brand. I see you consistently promoting it and pushing it. So at that, so you starting to take it serious. What were the first things you started with once you really like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead with this?
So first I started off, because, you know, summertime was approaching. I started off with like bralettes. So I started doing like bikinis, like bikini sets. I had like a whole bunch of velvet yarn in so many different colors. So initially when I started, they were all like velvet bikini sets and chokers. I was making chokers with like some chains that I had.
What's the time on that, like, as far as or it depends how you feel like working, as far as doing like a 2-piece? Because I see that doesn't take a lot of fabric.
Yeah, right? So now I could easily like get a bikini set done in like 2-3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still some time though.
Yeah, for a fact. But I kind of got it down into like a quicker turnaround than how I did before.
And now, when you started with those, how did you get the same kind of reception when you put the first pieces up? When you came out with the 2 pieces?
I would say yeah, but I feel like at that point, because by 2021 I had moved to Atlanta.
Okay, so you've been a few places.
Yeah. So first Rhode Island, it was more like family based for me. I was staying with my grandfather at the time, and then I had moved to Atlanta. So now I'm more immersed in the realm of like in the party scene and social life. And one of the clients that I had worked with at the time was a dancer. So, you know, dancers, they need, you know, 2-piece sets, right? Perfect. So I had her, you know, model a couple pieces for me, and that was, you know, really well. But I was also focusing on sewing as well at that time. So it was kind of like that balance of like, which one should I focus on more, right? Because I feel like in any job that you do, any career that you have, you always have to have a focus. And that's what's going to discipline you.
Yeah, if you're going to progress. Yeah,
you know, so it's like I had to really choose at that point, like, which one am I going to go full throttle with? And crocheting was the answer. So from there, I started doing more like cartoony pieces. So like this.
Okay, yeah, let me see that right there.
Remember that meme that had came out about Elmo with the balsamic vinegar? So that's where this hat came from. And on this side I put the B is for balsamic vinegar, you know, nice. Like that. So yeah, I had did this. I made a Cookie Monster piece as well. So at that point I kind of, and I freehanded this too. This was like not even off of a pattern. So at that point,
okay, so sometimes there's a pattern in which you like freestyle off of it, or you...
Yeah, so sometimes, like, for example, like a crochet will probably post a pattern of something that they made freehand.
Okay.
So that way other crocheters would be able to recreate the same pattern.
So this is freehand, you're saying? Right?
Yeah, this was freehand.
Make sure they respect that.
And when I did this, it kind of brought me back to, like, a nostalgic point, because I was born in 92. I'm a 90s baby.
All right.
A big thing for me growing up was cartoons.
Absolutely.
You know? So getting up Saturday morning, I'm watching Pepper Ran, Power Rangers, Brace Face. So I'm in that realm of like the colors and the aesthetic of the cartoons and what they have on and things like that.
Definitely very colorful.
Exactly. So I'm like, this is perfect, you know? So I start playing off of things like that. Like my last fashion show, I did a 1-piece and it reminded me of Pepper Ran, like how her shirt was purple but her skirt was yellow and it had like the little pink and green circles on it.
Definitely a lot of colors.
You know, so I incorporate things like that I see into a lot of my work that I do. So
okay, and you mentioned the fashion shows. I definitely see that you have people modeling your stuff. Or do you create your own shows, or I don't know how that works when you get into fashion
what I was doing for last year, it was funny because my goal for 2023 was just to do one fashion show. You know, I really don't like to overwhelm myself with multiple extreme goals because I feel like when people do that, mid-January, it's out the window. You know, they be like, you know, this year I'm going on a diet, and February 15th, you over here chewing cheeseburgers. So I was just like, you know, I just want to do one fashion show. If I succeed that, like if I go past that, I'm great.
Yeah,
you know,
come after that. Yeah.
Exactly. So one of my homeboys, Frank Knight, he actually produces fashion shows.
Okay.
And because I have a background of management experience for the past 12, 13 years, he was like, look, if you help me with, you know, staffing, I can help you, you know, display your pieces. So I'm like, all right, cool. So the show was actually supposed to be like swimwear and something else, right? So swimwear and streetwear. I ended up being the only person to provide swimwear. So it kind of
worked out perfect.
Right. It kind of like put me in a spotlight now. So then from there, by the next fashion show, most of the models that had showed up for the casting call came to model my clothes.
All right, nice.
So it kind of like just ended up being a thing.
See, and that's why you got to get out. That's why you got to get out there. Just you never know what opportunities will build.
Yeah.
You weren't even expecting that.
Yeah.
So that's why, and even us meeting now, I had a great time. I met a lot of people at the summit right there. So it's always good. And you see how we got a chance to still keep building.
Yeah.
So you went from the swimwear. At what point did you, like, how do you know when to move on to the next thing? Is it based on the request or?
So, majority of last year I was on tour, right? I've been touring back and forth.
You got in this or something else?
So I was working for a More Bookings agency.
Okay, that's what I said. I know you do multiple things.
Yeah. So,
okay.
I was tour manager at that time last year. I still do stage management and stuff, but focusing on tour. So now you're on the road with artists and you're meeting different types of artists, and you know, fashion and music have a marriage between them two.
Absolutely.
And I will always bring, of course, a lot of pieces with me, because my main goal when I created my brand was to wear my clothes. It wasn't necessarily for other people.
You're right.
But, you know.
You're right. I be thinking about it.
You know, but it just worked out in that way that other people rocked with my brand. So anytime I would go on the road, most of the stuff in my luggage will be things that I made so I could wear it.
So you cool.
You know? And then I would wear it, and then an artist will come up to me like, yo, can I wear this for my show? Or this will match my outfit. So it's like I end up styling them while I'm on the road.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah.
So
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
through that, I got to kind of survey artists as far as like what they will wear for like performances and things like that. You know?
Right, because then you could make your stuff just to perform. And
Exactly.
That's dope. Okay.
So mainly I would take hats. Me personally, I like to wear like dresses and skirts. So for me, I would have dresses and skirts, right? But then now you have guys, yo, you should make a cardigan, you should make pants, you should make
I ain't see too much stuff for the fellas. I ain't gonna lie.
It's coming.
I ain't see too much stuff for the fellas.
It's coming.
Nah, but you know, I know it's not. I know it's just you, and then you do have some help. I know it's not easy at all.
Yeah, it's not. It's just me and my two hands.
Yeah, because you're actually doing the labor, and like you mentioned, that shipping stuff. I always hear, even from guests on this show, they always seems to be like the biggest learning curve.
Yeah.
Right there. Right? Somebody was telling me that the arms is different than the numbers that you order, than the sleeves, and then the wrists, and I'm like, oh, I thought it was. That's a lot of information. Right
there. Especially when it comes to custom orders, a lot of people do things based on measurements.
That's what they were telling me. Like the measurements is crazy. You got to get it right.
And then you could send something out, and then the customer receives it, and it doesn't fit the way that they want, or something is off, and now. You know, and then you also have to work with time constraints, because people, you know, I need this by X, Y, Z day.
Once you get to that,
You know, now you got rush orders. Now you're doing overnight shipping. Now you're doing, it's a lot.
It's a lot. People always think the money's like, they could be paying me for it, but that doesn't mean I can only make it but so fast. Yeah. The shipping, everything got to work out. So, that's what's up. That's what I really like, that you're consistent and you know, you're holding it down, and you know, inspire. That's why I like to do shows like these. You know, inspire other people. Because it's very original, and it's like everybody always talk the talk, but let's really support each other. Like, let's really support creativity. That's very unique.
Yeah.
Before I forget though, you have another piece though. We can't forget about that right there. That's major right there.
This is my Mona Lisa frame.
Mona Lisa. Now this is a back of a jacket right here.
This is a denim jacket.
That's great.
And I just sewed that on.
This is fire.
So this past year, I really challenged myself as far as my creativity goes. And like I said, I like a lot of cartoons. So I learned how to do this. It's called a graph hand. That's what they'll call it.
Okay.
So even something like this.
And you know what's so crazy? Like, you don't have to describe what it is. That's how
you look at it and you
like,
see what it is.
Fire. Like,
yeah. So I've been perfecting this now for like a little bit over a year, just this style of crochet.
All right, you said this is the same type of style.
Yeah. A lot of people use this kind of style to do like tapestries, like wall hangings and stuff like that.
All right.
But I decided to take it like a whole different route. How this actually came about, because I feel like this is one of my first like tapestries. So like I said, I'm an art junkie, right? In school, I studied art. I got a scholarship to go to Pratt and do portfolio making classes.
So you in it.
Yeah. As far as like art goes, I'm like in there.
All right.
My favorite period of art was Surrealism. So Surrealism was during like the 1920s. It kind of came up about after the Great Depression. Right. So it was kind of the artist's way of escaping reality. So they started making art that meant nothing, but also meant everything. Famous Surrealist artists, Pablo Picasso, Salvador Dali, Frida Kahlo. So, example.
Those are like greats, because I know those names, so that means
you
they
see
gotta
what I'm
be
saying?
like, I don't
you
know
see what I'm saying? But as far as Surrealism go, what they would do is, for example, Frida Kahlo has this painting where her like spine is exposed, but instead of it being a spine, it's like an ivory column from like a Roman Colosseum, and it's cracked down, right? So you look at it and you know that it's an ivory column, but you could also look at it and tell that it's her spine.
And that's the beauty of the artistry too. I mean, you know, sometimes you want it to be something you figure out, but it is dope when you can look at it and get exactly what they was going for.
Yeah, right. So that's kind of what I focused on in my brand, because I knew that was my favorite period of art. So I'm like, how could I incorporate that into what I do? So when I did this Mona Lisa, the first thing I saw was like her hanging in the actual museum with the gold frame around.
Even the frame, like that's
right. Dope, so I'm like, how could I create that but like make it wearable? And I'm like,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know? And then I came up with this, sewed it down, cracked out my sewing machine, and sewed it down to my jacket.
Yeah, nah, that's fire right there. But yeah, I definitely listen. I appreciate what you're doing. I love the authenticity, the creativity. You know what I mean? The uniqueness. And you out here too, like you definitely out here, you working, you inspire me, because like I see you was everywhere, like you say, you was moving around, and your brand is always out there.
Yeah.
I mean, any closing words you have for the people, for well, obviously let them know where they can purchase your stuff like that.
Oh, so this is great, this is amazing. So you can follow me on Instagram @_the_black_goddess, @the_velvet_godmother, right? A lot of people just DM me for orders. That's great. My commissions open back up March 21st. So y'all got time to get your designs and everything together for that. 2, I have an Etsy. The Bonnie Velvet shop on Etsy.
See?
That link is also in my bio. So I do have a few pieces up there. I'm going to be constantly uploading as I create. I just throw them up there. 3, I just got a consignment at a shop in Lower East Side Manhattan called Restocked NYC, located on 112 Rivington Street. That's super exciting. I do have a few hats in that shop currently going for sale. You can go in there, ask for Bonnie Velvet, tell them Crisi sent you. They got you. That's just my first installment. I have more things coming for them. Of
course.
Yes, that is where you can shop Bonnie Velvet.
That's what's up. And, you know, salute to you. And definitely, you know, there's going to be more things coming. Make sure y'all tap in. It's 2024. What We Roc, Indie Designer Show. I'm your guy, Deme D. Make sure y'all subscribe, share, hit that red button, man. And make sure y'all spread the word.